Okay. Hello, Eric. So I'm here on our very first Armlifting USA YouTube production, and I couldn't think of a better guest than one of the very best ever to grip anything, Eric Roussin from Canada. Eric, welcome.
Thanks so much, Riccardo. I'm really happy to be here.
Yeah. So obviously, you and I have both traveled around the world to lift. We've roomed together. We've known each other for years. What's your what's your feeling on the growth of Armlifting USA and now Armlifting Canada and the sport in general? Can you tell us about that?
Well, it's a lot of fun to see. I mean, I don't know how the numbers have looked 2 years ago, but when I got in I participated in the Armlifting World Super Series last year, and it was a great turnout. And from what I've seen announced, there's a lot of locations this year, even more than last year. So that's all exciting. Definitely a lot of contests happening. So it's great. More and more people are learning about grip, starting to compete, and everyone who tries it, maybe not everyone, but almost everyone falls in love with it, and they get addicted. So it's great to see. It's great to see.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we've got 26 venues for the Super Series this year. My venue just ran last Sunday. I had 6 lifters, so not a huge turnout there, but some venues, a couple of people have told me they're expecting 20 to 30. So yeah, the numbers are playing in our favor. And I know your venue is coming up
Yep.
this weekend. How many people do you think will lift in Ottawa?
I'm expecting 12 to 15 for my venue.
That's great. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So, and I think one of the reasons we're starting to grow, besides using implements that are accessible to people, is we're starting to really, now that numbers are growing and everyone's not in their own category, we could offer more weight categories. We're going to have masters both this year for the Super Series, and I found out at the World Championships in Orlando, we're going to have masters categories. I'm not sure if we're going to have masters weight categories necessarily yet, but it's all very exciting. And like you said, it's growing very quickly.
Yeah.
And just look at the Arnold Open this year. We had 33 people and some pro level results, really impressive results. And some of them were first time competitors in arm lifting. So with a little practice, who knows? You never know who's lurking around the corner.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one, if not two of the women who competed in the Open are already like national caliber. Like I saw the results and I'm like, holy, they did very, very well.
Yeah, well, the woman who won, Haley, she was a professional volleyball player in Europe.
Okay.
She lives in upstate New York. She played volleyball in college. She was a pro volleyball player, and so was her brother. So they're obviously a very talented family. And she just competed actually in her first pro Highland Games this week. So you're looking at a stud athlete there, and she's trying arm lifting, and she's absolutely invitational class.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, and her training partner Hannah is the one who got second to her. So I'm not quite sure of what Hannah's background is before. I think she's dabbled in strongwoman. But these are women that are picking up 50 kilos on the Saxon bar first go. I mean, that's serious business right there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so these, I mean, we could leave a Saxon bar with 50 kilos in a gym, and there's a lot of strong guys who couldn't lift it the first try.
Yeah.
So they're for real. And you know what? There's more women out there that are just as good or better than they are. And that's no disrespect to them. But as it grows, we get more people trying the stuff. The bar is going to get raised.
Yeah. And just, even if classes are added, and maybe not for the big events, but just the addition of these weight classes and masters and teens and all that, it's all good because people just like to be able to compare themselves with people of similar size and level. So even if it's just to see their names on the see how they rank on leaderboards, I think it's a great addition.
Well, thank you. Yeah. What I didn't want is for everyone to call themselves an Armlifting USA champion in 2018 when we started.
Right.
But we're entering year 6 now. I mean, even though the pandemic's put a dent in it and slowed us down a little bit, I think we're up and moving now. I mean, the addition of Armlifting Canada uh, by Scott is a fantastic. Obviously, Canada showed how talented they were at the World Championships by, I mean, you guys came and took a haul of medals back with you, back north.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
Hopefully we'll try and do it again this year. We'll see.
yeah, well, yeah, the troops are growing, right? I mean,
Yeah.
Ian and his girlfriend Jessica, you and Zach, Kathy
Yeah.
Facey, Stefano,
Yeah.
amazing. Now maybe Eves enters the mix.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yves Gravel. Hopefully, hopefully he decides to compete. I would love to go to the Worlds with him. I missed my chance in Russia a few years ago when he went, and you were there, I think, the year.
I was.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it'd be great to see him at the world level again.
Yeah, no, that was in 2019, and he was so impressive, not just as a lifter, but as a human. He's just a great dude. So, it's it's becoming an all-star cast now, right? Like the people that don't make the podium, you're like, oh my gosh, they're awesome, and they're not even making it. So
Right.
that's what's exciting to me, is that the level keeps going up and up and up. So yeah, and obviously the internationals, the Finns, they're having a venue. Norway had a venue. So the Swedes were great at the Arnold Classic. I mean, just absolutely fantastic. So it's not just US and Canada.
Right.
So more and more countries are adding, and if people want to add more, they just have to reach out and contact me either via Instagram, email, whatever. They just contact, and we will figure out a way to get you set up. So since you and I have both traveled internationally a bunch, I'm going to Sweden this year to compete as well as Canada. So that'll be 2 more countries on my passport. Where would you like to see, Eric? Where would you like to see the next international arm lifting? Would you like a more tropical venue than Ottawa? What do you think?
Anywhere we haven't been before, and further in advance that we know, the easier it is. So, I'd love a contest in Hawaii. I'd love a contest, in eventually Australia, New Zealand area. That would be great. Obviously, I'd have to plan long term for that one, because that's not a weekend thing.
No.
But even just the Worlds in Orlando for us in December or November, it's going to be cold up here, so we're going to be happy to go to Florida.
Yeah. Well, I talked to Luke Reynolds at the Arnolds, and he's going to try to whip something up for 2024 for Arm Lifting Australia. So Luke is a serious customer. We saw his performance, and he's as nice as he is strong. So I believe there may be something cooking down under next year if he can get the right venue. They were very locked down during the pandemic, more so than Canada.
Right.
So they still may be feeling some of the after effects, but I also want to visit Australia and New Zealand. So you'll be the first one I call when we find out about a contest there. That's for sure.
Good stuff.
Yeah. Hey, Eric, why don't you talk about some of the future stars? You touched on Haley and Hannah from the women's. Why don't you talk about some other people that have caught your eye, either in person, in Canada, or online, other people you've seen that have really stood out at you?
Maybe I'll speak to some more recent Canadian guys that I've just, who've competed for the first time just this year at some contests. There's a young guy who will be competing this Saturday called Maxim Gervais. He's 15 years old, and he will be he's in the 70 kilo, I believe, and he's a rock climber, and he's already competing with the men, on equal footing. he
Right.
will be putting up some impressive numbers. And the guy who's only 15 years old putting up those numbers, it means he's got a lot of potential over the next 5-10 years. So he's the guy to look out for. He's the guy to look out for. Out west, I met another rock climber. I think his name is Mika Sterling, and he was also, I think, 80 kg, and he's another guy with tons of potential. I'm not sure if he's competing this weekend in the Saskatchewan venue of the World Super Series, but those are two guys that I can think of. But the sport's growing. I'm constantly, the Ottawa team is getting bigger and stronger, and so those are some of the names that I can think of that maybe the viewers haven't come across just yet. But I think those names are going to be, I think you're going to see more of those names in the standings.
Wow. Well, we all know what the rock climbers can do. Eve's already shown us what the rock climbers and Tanner Merkel had an extensive rock climbing background. So we're already well aware that rock climbers coupled with some weight training can do a lot of damage. Yeah. Some of the other lifters that are coming through. I don't know if he's lifting, but one guy who's pretty impressive at the feats is this guy, Ben Helms from Virginia. I mean, he cleans the inch dumbbell every day. I mean, the guy is unbelievable. So he competed last year in the Super Series. I hope to see him competing again. I'd like to meet him in person. He lives by Chad Clark in Virginia. So we have 3 Virginia venues. So he has ample choices. So I'd like to see him and what he can do in person. Yeah, for sure. He definitely got my attention. John Felber did very well at the Arnold Open. I already knew John and knew about him, but he cranked up his game another notch. He was excellent on the Saxon bar, especially. Wow, 110 kilos. That was something to be said for a 90-kilo lifter. It was very impressive. Yeah, so we'll see. I mean, you already mentioned some of the women. I hear of another pro Highland Games thrower that'll be at my Austin venue that I'm flying out trying to stimulate the lifting in Texas. So I'm not quite sure, and I don't want to put pressure, but there are more non-arm lifters, the pro throwers, and those people are looking over at us. What are you guys doing over there? So it's gaining popularity, and I think that cross training with powerlifting, strongman, Ode Haugen was huge at getting strongmen like Martins, like Mark Felix, like himself to do the grip. I think you'll see more and more crossover between Highland Games, shot put and discus, like Carl, obviously shot putter, and powerlifting. I think we're going to see more and more of that, especially given the big stage we had in Columbus. For sure, that was a great place to compete.
Yeah, Gabby Dixon was a great example.
She's phenomenal. But she's absolutely phenomenal. But she did. It's not like she didn't train. She has the implement. She trained for it. But she has a supremely strong grip. I mean, just unbelievable. Very, very talented young woman. Like you talked about Maxime, she is a relatively newcomer with a couple years of seasoning. I don't even know how old Gabby is, in her mid-20s, I would assume. With a couple years more weight training, I mean, she might beat a lot of the men. She is very good. Yeah. So
I'm looking forward to Armlifting Canada's first event, Wild Stampede, July 8th, Calgary. I know you'll be there. I'll be there.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to a fun inaugural contest. It's during the Calgary Stampede, so I'm going to do a lot of sightseeing while I'm there. So it should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'll have to hear from the locals where to go. I was thinking about going to that Banff National Park while I'm there. That's just absolutely beautiful. The pictures I've seen of the terrain there are gorgeous.
Yeah.
So, Yeah, I was able to secure a rental car, as you know. So
Yeah.
the prices took off, I guess, after I reserved mine. But yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll probably do something together. But yeah, I'll be up there
Yeah.
with my family, seeing that. And I've never been to Canada, so as you know, so I'm very excited to go.
Yeah.
And that's just in about 3 weeks. So yeah, I am blessed and excited to be part of the force to spur the growth forward and to expose more people to it, which is what our interview is doing right now.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's a
Yeah.
lot of fun.
All right, Eric. Well, look, I'll let you go. You have a great night. We'll talk again soon. And good luck this weekend competing yourself. And I'll see you before you know it in Calgary.
Last message I just want to say to anyone watching: if you're on the fence about competing, do it. You'll have a ball. There's locations all across the U.S. and Canada, and even internationally. So go on Armlifting USA, find a location. You know, it's happening this month and in August. So, just do it.
Yeah, and even I'll thank you, Eric, for that great promo. And even if people are late to the game and they're watching this video in July and they want to have an August venue, all they have to do is reach out to me. I will make it work for them. I want to increase participation. It's not too hard. We can do it. So all it is I'm one message or phone call away. So yeah, I want to give people a chance to have fun.
And Riccardo was extremely responsive. If anyone ever has any questions, he gets back to you. He gets back.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not going to get lost in the email jungle. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, Eric. Well, thank you so much for doing this. Yeah. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time and all that you do for arm lifting.
And thank you, Riccardo.